Chapter 1. I don't usually go to school wearing nose glasses, a long trench coat, and my dad's Indiana Jones hat. But today was different. Nose glasses, in case you didn't know, are fake glasses in a fake nose and mustache on them. The reason I was wearing these things was the Three Stooges. I don't mean Moe, Larry, and Curly either. I mean Alex, Mort, and Wesley. These are three bullies who hang out near my school. They are about 2 years older than me and a lot bigger. I was trying to sneak past them so they wouldn't get me like they did yesterday. Yesterday, they ganged up on me and pulled my pants down, and it was just my luck. I happened to be wearing a pair of old tighty whites. I'm used to having weird problems to deal with, like leaving my body and not being able to get back inside it, or meeting a volcano goddess in Hawaii and having her put a curse on me. The only weird thing about this problem was that it wasn't weird at all. The Three Stooges were your typical steal your lunch money and tie your shoelaces together kind of bullies. You probably know the type. Can I ask you a personal question? How do you handle bullies? My best friend Spencer Sharp has an IQ of either 160 or 1600. I forget which. He can kind of distract bullies with big words. They sort of forget what they are doing when Spencer started talking about retaliation and litigation. And Vernon Mantelful, who's in my class but not my friend, cries and sweats all over them. I'm never sure what to do. My dad says, Zack, all bullies are cowards. If you just stand up to them, they will back down. I believe that. I also believe they might crack your heads open like an egg. Now I happen to be the third fastest runner in the 5th grade at the Horace Hyde White School for Boys in New York City. So mostly what I do when bullies start in on me is run like crazy. This morning, I was taking no chances. I had my disguise. I was wearing new running shoes, and I was taking a different route to school. About halfway there, I found one of the streets blocked off. There were these huge trailer trucks parked all over the place. What's going on? I asked the policeman. They are shooting a movie, he said. It's called Drop Dead Tough Guy. I haven't heard of that one, I said. Well, of course you haven't heard of it. They haven't made it yet. Are you in show business? Not really, I said. Why do you ask? I mean, the way you're dressed. Oh, I said, this is just a disguise. The police gave me a funny look, but he let me watch the scene they were shooting. It was a fight scene. The good guy was surrounded by 3 bad guys. The actor playing the good guy looked real familiar, only I don't know his name. An actor playing one of the bad guys started to throw a punch at him. Cut! Yelled the director. The fight stopped. Stunt double. The actor whose name I don't know walked out of the scene. Another guy who was dressed just like him walked to the same spot in the scene. He's a stunt double. And action! Yelled the director. The fight got going again. The first bad guy punched the stunt double in the nose. Another bad guy picked up a trash can and bonked the stunt double on the head. Oof, that must have hurt. I looked over at the actor whose name I didn't know. He was sitting on a chair, drinking a Dr. Pepper, having his hair combed. That got me thinking, wouldn't it be great if you could get stunt double in real life? Like to handle bullies at school? I turned back to the policeman. Excuse me, officer, I said. Do you have any idea how much a stunt double costs? I thought maybe I could line up somebody just for a day or two. Stunt doubles? Said the policeman. Those guys make around $100 an hour. Rats. I only get $5 a week allowance, so it looked like I'd have to find another answer to my bully problems. Chapter 2. I made it to school without running into the Stoozies. While I was stashing my disguise in my locker, Vernon Mantlefool came up to me. Nice underpants you were wearing yesterday, said Vernon. What kind do you have on today? Ones with Mickey Mouse on them? It was a pretty stupid joke, but Vernon didn't think so. He cracked himself up. Vernon is this big sweaty kid who is not my friend. Anyhow, when he gets nervous, he tends to puke. The three students picked on him for a while too. Then one day he puked all over them. After that, they left him alone. Actually, everyone in the whole school leaves Vernon alone. I left Vernon by the lockers, still laughing at his own joke. I went and found my friend Spencer. We headed for our homeroom. The three students got me again yesterday, Spencer, I said. They pants me. I don't know what to do. What I really need is someone who looks just like me, who could stand up to those bullies. Like a stunt double. Spencer nodded. Or a clone, he said. What would be even better? A clone. I stopped in the hallway. I looked at Spencer and nodded. Yes, a clone. That made sense. Later in science class, I was still thinking about clones. Mrs. Coleman-Levin was showing us how water expands when it freezes. If you want to know the truth, I didn't really care what happens to water when it freezes. Zack, said Mrs. Coleman-Levin, do you have any questions? That's her way of nailing you when you aren't listening. Yeah, I said. How do you go about cloning somebody? We weren't speaking about cloning, she said. We were speaking about what happens to water when it freezes. I know that, I said. But how does cloning work? Maybe if I understood that, I could understand what happens to water when it freezes. She laughed. Mrs. Coleman-Levin is pretty cool. Well, she said, cloning is a way that scientists can make copies of a living thing. All they need is a tiny sample of its body. I'm sure you've read how scientists have been able to clone sheep. I had, but there wasn't any help. The Three Stooges picks on kids, not farm animals. Could you clone a person? I asked. Maybe someday, she said. How long would it take to clone a person? I asked. Just give me a ballpark figure. She smiled. How long would you like it to take? Around 24 hours, I said. Well, I hate to disappoint you, she said, but it'll take quite a bit longer. Rats. Clones took too long, and stunt doubles were too expensive. What I needed was something fast and cheap. Chapter 3. Before I left school, I slipped on my disguise for the walk home. I knew that bullies attack when you least expect it, so I was expecting it as much as possible. It turns out bullies also attack you when you most expect it. I know this now because less than a block from school, Alex, Mort, and Weasley jumped out of nowhere and blocked my path. "Get a load of Jack's outfit," said Mort. I guess my disguise needed work. Weasley sneered. "You look cool, Zack." "But I don't like the pants. Do you, Alex?" "Nope, I think the pants should go," said Alex. He tried to yank my pants down around my ankles. Then Mort grabbed my nose glasses and ripped off the nose, and Weasley snatched the Indiana Jones hat off my head. He started tossing it back and forth with Alex. "Cut it out!" I cried. "That hat is my dad's. If the students messed it up, I'd be in big trouble." "Hey, look! A cop is coming!" I shouted. The students all turned around. Of course, there weren't a cop. They aren't called the Three Students for nothing. I snatched the hat and started running like a madman. The bullies chased me for about 6 blocks. I was holding onto the hat with one hand and holding up my pants with the other. Did I mention that I'm the 3rd fastest runner in the 5th grade? Well, on the other day, I would have outrun Alex, Mort, and Weasley no problem. But the pants were kind of slowing me down. I could hear the bullies catching up. I flew around the next corner, and open gate was up ahead. I raced through it and almost ran smack into a crowd of people. I stopped and took a quick look around. What was going on here? I tried pushing my way through the crowd. I was in a big lot filled with long tables. The tables were covered with all kinds of stuff for sale. It was a flea market. In case you didn't know, a flea market is a place where people go to buy or sell just about anything. I don't know why they call it a flea market. I mean, I've been to lots of flea markets and I never once saw them selling fleas. I ducked behind the nearest table and looked back toward the entrance. Alex, Mort, and Weasley were searching for me, but there were too many people, too many places to hide. Soon they got bored and left. When I was sure they were gone, I crawled out from behind the table. There was a painting of Elvis Presley on black velvet for sale, and a sculpture made out of hubcaps, and a very fancy brass box. I picked up the brass box. "You like box?" said this high, cracky voice in back of me. I jumped about a foot in the air. I mean, I wasn't expecting anybody to talk to me. A short old man dressed in long orange robes was grinning at me. His head was totally bald and shiny. His face had tons of wrinkles. Peeking out from under his robes were red high-top sneakers. He was wearing a button that said, "Have you hugged your yak today?" Yak is from Tibet. It is from Tibet, this box, he said. You like to buy him? I don't think so, I said. What's it for? He grinned. For much things. Comes with special instructions in 27 languages. Oh, really? I said. He took the box and opened it. Inside was a little book. He was right. There were instructions in languages I'd never even seen before. I found the ones in English. Well, some Tibetan guy's idea of English. How to do much things with a special box, it said on the cover. Inside there was a table of contents. How to milk yak was one of the headings. I didn't think I'd have too much use for that. How to keep abominable snowman out of a vegetable garden, said another. Somehow I didn't think I'd be using that one much either. How to make tulpa, said the third one. What the heck is a tulpa? I asked. Tulpa? Said the old man. Tulpa is a copy you can make a person, except copies are not flat. They, three-dimensional? I said. He nodded. Yes, also not small, same size as original, and super strong. Nothing hurt tulpa. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. An exact copy of me, except super strong and unhurtable? I asked the guy how much the box cost. It was kind of expensive, but a real bargain compared to a stunt double. I'd never heard of a tulpa before, but it seemed like the perfect answer to my Stuzzi's problem.